A legendary afternoon to all summoners in the Southeast Asia. Welcome back to the Garena Premier League Summer 2017. We are now on the second day of our group stage and on to the second match in this back-to-back, actually. Back-to-back fight between Kuala Lumpur Hunters versus Headhunters. We're going to be your shoutcasters. I'm Shinbu with one for an eye, and of course, Iconic. Ladies and gentlemen, so you've seen that game earlier. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I really liked how Caspiel was punishing the Cho'Gath the early game.
Do you like the chilling smite Caspiel person?
Oh, I think there's some merit to it, but usually you go for the tracker's knife for the vision control.
Ah, yes, tracker's knife. Yes,
Yes.
there you go. I keep on calling it poacher's knife.
Oh,
Poacher's
okay.
knife was the one with the lethality. The one that that becomes that lethality item, like if you counter jungle.
Yeah.
Is it still available?
I think so. I
Oh,
think so,
okay.
yes.
It's not just on the meta, ladies and
But
gentlemen.
yeah, like, as you can see, like, Caspiel
Mm.
was doing such a really good job. He had 20 out of 26 kill participation
Yes.
in... He was actually leading for Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
And
Wow, he was just doing a stellar job. Only
And-
died twice, did a lot, punished the enemy jungler as well. But
I-
just dive straight.
I feel like that game deciding fight on the
Yeah?
blue side, it was set up by Caspiel.
The
You know
one
the
at
tunnel
bot
in the back line?
Yeah.
No, the one in the blue side, the one where Caspiel went for the back line and which allowed our hedge to actually get the ultimate.
Oh, yes.
That's actually the part where Headhunters, like, they don't know what to do after that. So here we go. We are actually on the draft and we actually got a lot of picks actually taken in here. But of course, to mention the bans, we got the Kalista, Tristana, Sejuani here for Headhunters. Bans here for the Kuala Lumpur Hunters would be the Maokai, Vladimir, still they don't want that for Patrick, and of course the Jarvan. There's still the Renekton, but not on Buck's own Kuala Lumpur Hunter side. Rexa was denied from Caspiel, Alistar here, and a Kled. Now that's what's interesting. Of course, there's the Elise and the Galio. So what are your takes?
So I feel like Kled is a really good top lane matchup
Yes.
into Renekton, and aside from that, you have the Rek'Sai denial onto Caspiel. So Caspiel's gonna go on the Elise. Elise is a really high pick rate so
Yes.
far in this patch. So I'm not actually surprised. I feel like the priority we've seen in GPL is kind of weird with regards to like people prioritizing other
ADCs,
junglers.
support,
Other
either
junglers as well
Yes.
instead of Elise. Elise has been really good, especially with the pick comp. She has a lot of decent damage as well to deal with these tank junglers before they become really tanky. And a little priority as well on Renekton. So as you can see from the initial bans, Cho'Gath is open, and we also have the Cho'Gath, we have the Maokai got banned, but we
yeah.
also have the
Interestingly,
other
no
tanks, yeah.
no pick on the Cho'Gath on this one. It feels like Bucks doesn't put Cho'Gath in the top lane. I have a feeling of that because what's interesting is they got the Cho'Gath in the jungle.
Yeah.
Not really an effective jungler
But
per
we've
se.
also seen like Cho'Gaths in the top lane as well.
Yes,
so
top lane Cho'Gath. So it feels like despite the Cho'Gath being available, nobody's gonna be picking that one. We get the Seabeer here. Now that's interesting. Not the everyday ADC that you'd see.
although she was
Buff,
buff,
yeah, in the previous patch. Very slight buff.
One curious thing here is that there's no Caitlyn pick at all. Even though the Caitlyn nerfs have been
Yes,
pretty been coming non-stop ever since the past few patches, Caitlyn is still pretty good. The only reason that we don't see Caitlyn as often now is because Tristana is the new Caitlyn. But since we've been seeing a lot of Kalista and Tristana bans, so I'm surprised that the AD carry priorities aren't falling on Saya and Caitlyn.
Yeah,
like the
I'm
Varus
curious.
pick caught me off guard earlier as well.
If I'm gonna be observing the Korean meta, I feel like before Saya, there's actually a priority on Varus or Caitlyn. Of course, the number 1 and 2 spot would go on to Kalista and Tristana. So with all the picks here, we actually get the Alistar to pair with Deceiver. Of course, the Braum. There's a nerf on Talia. I'm not so sure if it will be that punishing. It makes her Q less spammable in the late game. But let's talk about the Seaver. What are your thoughts about the Seaver?
Sivir can do pretty well in the lane matchup because what usually happens when you go up against a Saya is that she just keeps pushing the wave, and
Seaver's a good counter for Saya.
No, it's not
It's not
her
that
counter
direct.
per se, but she can deal pretty well with how Saya plays the lane. But I like the Braum pick because the Braum can break the ricochet.
Yes.
The boomerangs coming out from Sivir and protect his team from all of that AoE damage coming out from the Sivir. He can also
The Boomerang Blade, it cancels the return of
yes,
the Boomerang Blade.
also cancels the Boomerang Blade, the ricochet where it bounces off.
Ah.
The moment the ricochet hits him and he has his unbreakable up, it also destroys
No more
boomerang.
bounce.
No more bounces.
Ah.
And then aside from that, it also works well with the threaded volley coming out from the Thalia. So a few. I really like the
mechanic there,
pick.
yeah. The prom last pick there by Bipolar, and that's what's interesting about it. It's in the hands of the Kuala Lumpur Hunters. There are visible counters for them. It's between these two. I feel like if you consider the general team fight contribution, I'm leaning more on the Rex side. But if you consider the whole macro, the capabilities, like what a jungler can actually contribute for the whole game, I'm leaning more on Elise. I love Elise personally, actually. Now, so let's see what Caspiel can do. Because I feel like on that earlier game, Caspiel just picked a very safe jungler, which is Rek'Sai. Just went ham with her and just become very aggressive by picking up the Chilling Smite. This time, he should be more calculating. If you really want to be efficient with Elise, you should be more calculating.
Yeah.
With those engage, you're gonna just be very aggressive with an Elise. Of course, she has that rappel to actually pull up those tower dives, but not as durable as the Rek'Sai still.
Yeah, one curious thing though is that KLH can pull up really good tower dives as top lane. The moment that Renekton hits 6, he can use the Dominus, so you can expect the Elise to go in first, and then the Elise will use Repel to reset tower aggro, and then the Dominus will help him tank a few more turret hits. And then it's a Kled, so the moment you dismount him, he's gonna be crazy slow, and then he's gonna have limited mobility. So we might see a lot of tower dives in top lane.
If there's one thing I'm most interested for this game, it's on the Kled and on the Sivir. But the Sivir was kept in check by the Brom, so
Oh yeah, and
I'm just left with the Kled.
now that you mentioned the Kled and the Sivir, their movement, they're gonna run you down.
Yes, that combo, ladies and gentlemen. But I feel like Kuala Lumpur Hunter is a team capable of stopping that run down by the Headhunters. But we'll see.
So you usually will just want to disengage, and I feel like the Brom, again, the Brom can also use the Glacial Fissure to actually stop them from using the movement speed boost coming in from the Headhunter side.
Yes, from that engage, ladies and gentlemen, we are now live into the Summoner's Reef. Once again, the Garena Premier League Summer 2017. And this is the second day of our group stage. Actually, the second match of what seems to be a series here in the group stage by the Headhunters versus the Kuala Lumpur Hunters. Do take note that Kuala Lumpur Hunters already punished and took that first victory against the Indonesian squad. Let's see if can Headhunters answer a revenge in this third game of the day.
Yeah, a minor goal lead coming out from Patrick, being able to get the spiderlings of Caspiel.
How much is that? 6? 10?
No, that was like 10 gold already.
10
and
gold.
as we speak, we also get a flash burn from Elise. A little too antsy there. Knowing that there were a few people there, still goes and face check the River Brush. Ends up burning his flash.
Yeah. What is Caspiel doing here? Now, if you're like a high tier team, you can actually punish this. A jungler lacking splash, especially an Elise. So let's see what would be the plan for that. It's really pretty standard. There's actually that warder on the Raptor camp that would give an info for the Kuala Lumpur Hunters of where the Rek'Sai will start. What are they planning on doing? Are they waiting for a face check here?
Yeah, so what they're doing is they know that the bottom side of the Headhunters are going to leash for Chris Kyle. So they're trying to cheese them at the bottom brush.
Yeah,
as you can see there.
So just a cheese. Actually, not to really get a kill, but just punish them.
Yeah, so one thing to take note of is when playing against an Alistar, you have to punish him level 1. And that's one of the ways they can actually do that.
Yes, and you could see, of course, they'll be the first one to tag the creeps, the minions here in the bottom lane. So they should be the first one to pop up onto the level 2 spike.
Yeah, and you can see that KLH's bot lane is just racing for that level 2 to make sure that Ruben cannot get the upper hand in this bottom lane matchup.
Yes, I love this matchup. I feel like it's very far from the LeBlanc Galio matchup. Now what we have here is the Thalia and Galio. And compared to the LeBlanc, I feel like Thalia has better control of the lane.
Yeah, so it's going to be a question of who can actually get mid lane priority, because both champions can actually push the lane in really easily because we have the Winds of War and we have the Threaded Volley.
Yes, this is interesting. Chris Kyle, despite having the flash advantage, may lose at Caspiel. He's the first blood, seeing first blood earlier, ladies and gentlemen. And that kill is given out to Shiro. Patrick tries to answer here, tries to respond. Our heads will keep him in check. That should be 1-0 still. No additional kill given onto Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
That all happened because Shiro actually had lane priority over the Kled. Was able to get there faster, and
Yes.
then Box actually burning his flash as well, but still wasn't able to get a kill in return.
So you can see the shove there, no? By the Renekton against Bucks. How the small things can actually lead you in getting the first blood, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
And I just-
especially with Call the Meek being AoE's ability that helps you push the wave in compared to the bear on
Bear trap on a rope.
bear trap on a
Yes.
rope, which is actually a linear ability that you have to position properly to actually deal enough damage.
And look at this. Wow, that's going to be Chris Kyle. The knockup is not there. Our heads. He tries to bait away Chris Kyle. Gets the taunt. Let's try to buy his time. In there, but that's a lot of actually minions getting denied there against our heads. And Caspel will just be around the corner. Not going to go all in on that one, knowing that Talia is just around and very close to the corner. Actually, Elise is a good counter against, has a very nice counter mechanic against the Talia. Because if you're considering all those kits that can zone out champions from Talia, Elise can mitigate that with a rappel.
Yeah, and aside from that, the moment she lands her stun onto the Talia, she can just make Talia explode with if she starts building full magic pen.
Yes. Yes, she starts building magic pen by the late game.
Yeah, especially
She can
when
actually
Talia
all-in
doesn't
combo.
have any mobility abilities. It's going to be hard for her to dodge the cocoon
Yes.
and then nothing to actually protect herself from the Elise.
One of the inherent weaknesses of Talia is that she has no, as you mentioned, no mobility abilities. No dash, just lots of zone control. There's movement speed, very slight, you
Very
know.
slight, yeah.
Yeah, if you are like close to a rock. And of course, there's the Weaver's Wall, but you don't use that for dashing or for dueling. He used that to zone and control the terrain against your opponents. A face check by Cashmill. What is he doing here? Guys, decided to step on the cocoon. Not a good news, but the damage still there. The Raptor camp would deal a lot of damage as well onto Cashmill, along with Patrick. A little bit of a few back. There's the final rock. And you could see that would dent into the face of Cashmill. First skill given to H2.
Yeah, the face check by Caspiel, and you can see that he actually has his mobility boots. So you know he wants to play aggressive and play for the early game. But with these kinds of deaths, they kind of slow you down, and then what will happen is their enemy jungler will start gaining a lead on top of you.
No plans on getting early tracker snipe, no? Always aggressive itemizations. Mobility boots. I mean, Elise is already mobile, per se. Like, especially if she's on her spider's farm. She has this bonus movement speed. I'm not so sure. This is another opening by Kuala Lumpur Hunters that Headhunters could capitalize on.
What I do like here is Galio is actually winning in the CS compared to the Talia. Especially when it's a melee versus range matchup. You usually expect the melee champion to be in the deficit. But right now he's just leading with like 12, 13 minions, which is almost equivalent to an entire kill.
I feel like Galio's an unfair champion. I'm starting to feel like Galio's an unfair champion, despite the nerfs.
One thing also I'd like to touch on is that we don't see a lot of Lucian mids.
Yes!
Lucian mid
that's
is
what
one
occurs.
hard counter
Yes.
as well against Galio. which-
Lucian right now is a good mid lane.
Yeah, and
Especially with the meta.
they could have picked him in the last pick rotation coming out from Headhunters.
No bans as well on Lucian.
So that
Nobody's
could have been an
accounting.
option as well.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if the Lucian mid lane is like a pick not yet adapted by the Southeast Asian region.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not yet adapted.
One thing we can infer from the first two games of today and yesterday's GPL is that in Southeast Asia, the mid lane picks are kind of, how do you say
Stagnant?
this?
Are very
A lot of them
kind of
are
small.
Yeah, out of the meta. Like, we see
okay,
a lot
it's more
of
diverse,
LeBlanc.
yes.
We saw
Yes.
a Zed yesterday.
Yes.
Ari. These
Yes.
champions that you rarely see, Talia as well.
Yes,
compared
but
to like what we see in other
in
regions.
other regions, yes. In other regions, actually, they have high priority on picking supports first and even the ADC. Here in Southeast Asian region, they actually delay. For the most part, you'd expect the ADC on the fourth pick or even on the last pick. And the last priority for the other regions like LCK is the mid, because there are very few options actually in the mid lane. Like for example, LCK they just play around picking, securing the picks on the ADCs like Kalista or Tristana or Caitlyn or Varus. But let's see, ladies and gentlemen, I still cannot approve. Wait, hold that thought. Another cocoon here onto Chris Kyle. Chris Kyle here has the flash to be burned. There's the knock-up onto Caspiel, but Arhead is just waiting for his Q, and it connected. The Winds of War will definitely wipe out this Rek'Sai.
Oh, and one thing you have to take note of is the Rek'Sai has 2 long swords, so we don't know if he's actually building Tiamat, but...
Well, there's the ultimate from the Galio on this tower. Dive pulled off by the Kuala Lumpur Hunter squad, and that's what you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, as we said, the moment these top laners hit level 6, level 7, you can expect a really evident tower dive coming out from the Elise and the Renekton. You even have the Hero's Entrance used as well coming out from the Galio just to help out with the damage.
Oh, you could feel the nerf here against Natalia. She's gonna really spam that Q. That is only the second Q for this Threaded Valley, for this engage in the top lane. And again, going back, as you mentioned, once the ultimates are available for the top laners,
they will dive top lane. It was a very evident thing. So, Headhunters should have read into this the moment that this kind of draft was selected by KLH. And by solidifying, either pressuring the enemy jungler or the enemy top laner to not allow them to do this.
Yes. And again, going back for that topic earlier, let's just say despite on the global meta, the mid is not that healthy. Not much of a peak. I mean, before 7.16, because there's a lot of changes in the 7.16 for the mage champions. So I feel it might affect the mid lane a bit. But in the past, with a very, very slight peak on the small champion pool rather on the mid lane. I feel like that LeBlanc pick earlier was still unwarranted. Because that nerf on LeBlanc was a nerf on her laning and on her clear. Now there's gonna be the ultimate here from the Glad, ladies and gentlemen, gonna be the one to go into the front line, but here comes Ruben. Quite a messy fight, ladies and gents. But Patrick is getting all the feeds to land his kills against the members of the Kuala Lumpur Hunters. The first one to arrive into the mid lane, complete with the Headhunters. Damage being dealt here by Crusher as well. They might aim to take a push. The ADC. Yeah, Becky actually did not join that fight. It's gonna be left into the bottom lane. That this should be a first blood turret falling into the hands of the Headhunter squad.
Yeah, KLH, they need to realize that Headhunters, the way their composition works, just like you mentioned, the Kled, the Sivir, they will chase you down and they will group up faster. So you have to start these fights only if you're fully grouped up as 5, or else they will collapse and beat you through the numbers game.
Yes, if you're accounting for the response time here, definitely the first one that will arrive would be the one with on the hunt, or the one with this charge by the Kled.
Yeah, but as you can see, this will be a dive onto Veki as well. Uses his ult prematurely.
That is a very early ult. But I doubt
burn both of his summoners as well, and then they will lose their bottom lane turret as well because if they commit.
I think he should have just given the kill. There's no chance of surviving actually that one. Like, flash. I'm trying to actually read on it. Flash, then ult.
Then heal as well. I feel like it was panic coming out from him. His ult also wasn't at the right direction.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty obvious that Box would only play that way if Veki was going to get dove. So he should have actually hit it towards the other members of the Headhunters instead of towards Box.
The recipe to actually escape for Veki. I think what Veki did was he actually used ult first before the flash and the heal. So I think the better option would be to flash and heal away, so that when the members collapse onto him, and aim his ult when the members collapse onto him on the outer bottom lane turret. Aim that ult towards those 4 members diving.
So that they can get rooted, and then he gets invulnerable. Yes. Exactly. So I guess maybe it was panic. Maybe he tunnel vision on Box too much. Didn't know that he was getting dove on. Who knows?
Of course, ladies and gentlemen, still 3-3, and of course, here in GPL, first 25 minutes of the game will be close.
What's surprising here is there isn't that much fighting compared to how the game before.
That game 1, yes. Game 2. So far, available objectives for this game. Nobody has touched yet the Ocean Drake. And of course, we're just on the 12-minute mark of our game. So that Reef Herald would be another threat for these 2 teams. Whoever takes that one. Rotations from the jungler. It's actually Caspiel and Chris Kyle. Trying to spot out each other's positions. Would be Chris. It's still more on Caspiel who's being aggressive here. There's going to be the on the hunt. They have the movement speed in Ramsap. That should be a sizable movement speed now on top of the Kled's charge. And that is Bipolar. He is now gone. But of course, a lot of spells has been burned here by the H2 squad. Achilles a kill though, but Shiro was allowed to push in the top lane.
Yeah, that's gonna deny a lot of minions from box. But again, KLH isn't respecting the fact that they can get collapsed on really easily by the charge and on the hunt. The thing is, they have a 1-3-1 composition against Headhunters' run you down composition.
Yes.
So I feel like they should either start slow pushes on side lanes and then look to group instead.
That is not good. If ever Headhunters decides to really force things onto a lane, it might be enough to actually death a hole into the base.
Yeah, exactly.
Hunters.
Because especially now, because they opened up the map for KLH by taking down KLH's mid lane turret. This could be a bad thing for KLH because they have less room to actually, wiggle room in the mid lane, and that is where you want your 3 to be centered at.
I just realized it's not just actually the on the hunt and the charge of the Kled that could like surprise KLH here. There's also the Weaver's Wall.
Exactly. Which is interesting because if they use all their abilities properly, they can use the Weaver's Wall to actually block off the escape path of KLH and then use the charge. Yeah, it's a very nice comp actually.
Yeah, it's kind of cheesy. It's very cheesy, but it's okay. I mean, not every day you'd see Kled. That's the problem, or even Seaver. But the way it is designed, you could clearly see the plan. I love how obvious the plans here is. So let's see here. Headhunter's gonna be starting this with Herald. Our Hedge would try to answer and ward up the members of H2. Maybe aim to get a reset on the Rip Herald. Damage being dealt on Cryscal. He's falling low. He has to burrow down to get the regeneration. And it would be the KLH squad might be getting the Rip Herald. They are ignoring it. They want the reset. And now they're taking the fight. It's actually Patrick going down. The Rip Herald taken in by Ozonoveki. And Cryscal would walk away. This is, interestingly, an answer by KLH. A very, very big answer coming in from KLH.
Headhunters have to realize that they should be the ones engaging on KLH, not KLH engaging on them. Because they can use the on the hunt to disengage, but charge only goes one way, which is in. So they have to actually wait for, they should have waited for KLH to start the Herald themselves and then collapse on.
Yes! At least something like that.
Exactly, especially because they are on the blue side. So what that means is when KLH does Herald,
let's check the replay here. You
can actually see that Chris Kyle takes so much damage from doing Rift Herald. Ruben's already half HP. And you see that they're incomplete. The Kled isn't there, and they just get chased down by KLH.
Why? That was a very late teleport from Kled. He actually aimed to teleport. Cancelled it. Okay.
So you can see like they want to also fight as 5.
Yes. So
it was just the question of why would they start Rift Herald when they don't have the proper vision control, they don't know where all the members of KLH were.
But so, I feel like they could have taken that fight. Bucks, that was a very late teleport.
Yeah, had he been there. Again, you need the on the hunt to compound with the charge movement speed so that you guys can chase them down. Yes. But you don't want to be the one to be engaged on.
What's so nice about the movement speed from on the hunt and charge is also it allows you to get a better position.
Yeah.
And for the case of the Savior, she doesn't require that much positioning really to deal considerable damage, especially with the ricochet and the boomerang, right? So she could use this movement speed not really to like target crucial backline members of KLH, but rather to just give safety to herself. Right now, a little bit of a duel here for Bucks and Shiro, but I'm starting to get a feeling that this is that fight earlier on the Rift Herald might be that classic team fight, which would put Headhunters again with their backs on the wall. They should get their confidence in taking this fight. They should be won by the Headhunter squad. Right now, it's only 3 of them. Where's the movement speed on the hunt? Where is it? Seaver would just join this fight. Ruben is there. Ultimate has been burned. Teleport would come in from the Galio. Not going to be using the ultimate for this, but it's going to be a 4v5 scenario if ever Talia would join this fight. Can they take this? There is the Weaver's Wall, ladies and gentlemen. But who would be protecting the Seaver? Crusher will be crushed by Shiro. And this is not good.
That Weaver's Wall didn't actually help Headhunters at all.
I'm looking for Hunters.
I feel like both teams are actually forgetting the comp that Headhunters are actually running.
Yeah.
Because Headhunters want to group as 5. They face check.
This is not the win condition they're asking for. Shutdown onto Shiro, and Patrick gets focused on here with the feathers coming in from Ozora, Becky, ultimate from Arheads as well onto Caspiel, a knock-up onto Ruben after Triskel has been killed. Here comes the box. Box is gone on this one, gets flattened here with Ruben to follow up. If Ruben will die here, that should be an unofficial ace.
That's actually a 6 for 1. 6 for 1 in favor of Kuala Lumpur Hunters. So again, like you were saying, Kuala Lumpur Hunters in the start of the game, they didn't know what kind of composition Headhunters were running. So they take a fight where it's 3v5.
Yes.
And then suddenly Headhunters forget what kind of composition they're running and they take 2 fights where it's a 4v5. So I feel like there's a lot of
really feel
confusion here because Kuala Lumpur Hunters, they want to pick you off. They have the Elise, they have the Braum as well. So look at this fight.
Yes.
Look at the Weaver's Wall. It actually separated Chris Kyle from the fight. The ADC died immediately, and then look at Box. I like how Box gets mounted again, just taking pot shots at Shiro. But Patrick is really far away. Sure, they get Shiro away from that, but look at what Box will do. He actually uses his ult and whiffs it so hard. And the thing is, you can't cancel it, so he just actually baited his own jungler to his own death. Had he hit that ultimate, they would have actually won that fight. But
yes.
Sadly, Box overshot his charge, and then that's all she wrote for. That made it a 6 for 1 in favor of KLH.
He's trying to predict the pathing of the escaping members of Kuala Lumpur Hunters, but he forgot the option that they could just stop and focus on the Rek'Sai.
Exactly. So that small mechanical error
Yes.
kinda made it a huge goal, a bigger gold swing for KLH.
And it's the second mistake from Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was the teleport as well onto the repair valve. We are now at the 20-minute mark, so the Baron is now available into the Summoner Suite. A Mounting Drake is set to spawn as well. 1 minute 35 seconds into our game.
Yeah, but one thing you have to take note of is Box is going to be useless as well in that split push. Looking at the gold lead right now, you have 6,500 gold in favor of KLH, but a lot of that gold is actually on Shiro. So Shiro can split push for days and Box won't be able to do anything about it.
And of course, we have to account for our heads as well. Becky is also having a good time. Right now, where are the movement speed ultimates? Ladies and gentlemen, the battle is secured here by the Kuala Lumpur Hunters into the front line. That should be the Ollie Star. Look at that. The ultimate from the charge is there. There is the movement speed, but where is the helpers? Look at Shiro. He's cleaving through the back line of H2 with the KLH being locked in here by Becky. Box is down along with Crusher. A very big win in exchange for our heads. And it would be a follow-up as well. Patrick was close for death on that one. And this Crocodile Alligator, I'm not so sure, but this Renekton is definitely dominating the Summoner's Reap.
Arhedge, the hero for KLH, actually zoning most of the Headhunters, is the only one to fall that fight. And we will see Ruben fall as well to Caspiel.
Yeah, like
they might lose a mid lane inhibitor from this, considering that only Chris, Kyle, and Patrick and Crusher are up. This could be a free turret for Becky, but Becky going aggressive.
Of course, there is the Feather Storm, ladies and gentlemen, with the Blade Caller, but Becky would be punished there, knowing that the Talia should be available. Look at the free hits from Crusher as well. Quite complacent from the Kuala Lumpur Hunter. Bottom duo squad, but that would actually allow Shiro to actually get a slight push into the top lane. And again, going back, I feel like here in GPL, if a team is behind, a team is behind.
Yeah, so again, Becky going super aggressive, but sadly he forgot that he still had turret aggro there. So look at that, Arhead zoning 2 members of the Headhunter squad, and then you can see that Crusher is actually helping them with the Baron because he is using the Ricochet, and then Arhead doing a decent job of zoning, sadly has to fall towards Patrick. But look at Becky and look at Shiro. Shiro is that massive front line for Kuala Lumpur Hunters, and his gold lead just shows because he can solo kill anyone.
Even
and as we speak of solo kills, Caspiel takes down Crusher in a solo kill.
I'm not so sure. I feel like Ruben would be punished here if he continues to go for Caspiel. And again, going back for that fight, it feels like the tanks here, the main tanks of Headhunters, are not even prepared for Shiro's damage. That's the problem.
The one thing you can't do in the top lane is give the Renekton lead like this. Because one thing you have to take note of is Renekton is really good at tower diving at level 6. So I feel like Chris Kyle should have done something to prevent this. I feel like Patrick could have done something to prevent this as well by keeping the enemy jungler in check, keeping Caspiel in check, keeping Arhead in check to prevent that top lane dive.
Yeah. What allowed Shiro to snowball actually was that the first one to teleport. He who teleports first wins the fight, ladies and gentlemen. Caspiel dropping so low, but Chris Kyle as well. Maybe the fatal side on this one gets the knock up onto Shiro. Another slice and dice, and of course a call the Nick Hunt. The Q would not connect, ladies and gents. Renekton on this one, lots of damage from Patrick. Gets the knock up, the ultimate there from Arhead along to answer ladder. The charge from the Kled. There's only 3 members remaining for the side here of the H2 squad. Mid lane in ADC is gone. Where is the damage? Where is the first Nexus turret? And where would be the second Nexus turret as Caspiel and Becky who just zone out the members, the remaining alive members here of the Headhunter squad. I think this is it, Iconic. I think we have a 2-0 clean win here in the group stage for the Kuala Lumpur Hunters as they would prove themselves as the better Hunters against Headhunters. Lots of Hunters.
Yeah, but you can see there that KLH doing such a cleaner game.
Yeah.
Cleaner game compared to the first game.
Minus the flash burned earlier by Caspiel, but still, I feel like Headhunters was just outclassed.
Yeah, I feel like KLH played this more seriously compared to the first game.
Yes.
Becky being a little with that tower dive was a little question mark there. The Eric Caspiel being a little antsy as well at level 1, having to burn his flash.
Mobility boots elite.
They still were able to get the first blood against Chris Kyle again.
Yes.
So yeah, I think even though you get the Rek'Sai from Caspiel, he can still play other champions, and you should focus on finding a way to shut him down.
And you know what's the lesson on this game? You should remember what your composition stands for. Because you said earlier, KLH forgot what is the composition of Headhunters. That is good. That is just okay. But what's worse is if you forget what is your own composition.
Yeah, and then you don't play accordingly.
Yes.
So your enemy team will punish you, especially with the pick comp that they actually could arrange with the Elise. They had the Renekton to help stun lock you. They have the Brom.
Yes.
So
mad props for Kuala Lumpur Hunters. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the conclusion for this game between, once again, the Headhunters from Indonesia versus the Kuala Lumpur Hunters from Malaysia. That is 2-0. That is a big point secured there by the Kuala Lumpur Hunters on this group stage for our next match. I'm actually very interested in this team. Young generation. The other squad from Vietnam. The name, man. You know, for Gigabyte Marines versus Resurgence from Singapore. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been your shoutcasters for this game. I am Shimbu with the 1 for an eye with my partner here, Iconic. This is the 3rd game concluded for the 2nd day of the group stage of the Garena Premier League Summer 2017. We'll be right back after a quick break. To get a reset on the Big Herald, damage being dealt on Chris Kyle. He's falling low. He has to borrow down to get the regeneration, and it would be the KLH squad might be getting the referral. They are ignoring it. They want the reset, and now they're taking the fight. It's actually Patrick going down. The referral taken in by Ozona Becky, and Chris Kyle would step away. Condition they're asking for. Shutdown onto Shiro, and Patrick gets focus on here with the feathers coming in from Ozora Becky. Ultimate from Arhead as well onto Caspiel. A knock-up onto Ruben after Chris Kyle has been killed. Here comes the box. Box is gone on this one. Gets flattened here with Ruben to follow up. If Ruben will die here, that should be an unofficial ace.
That's actually a 6 for 1.
Right now, where are the movement speed ultimates? Ladies and gentlemen, the battle is secured here by the Kuala Lumpur Hunters into the front line. That should be the Ollie Star. Look at that. The ultimate from the charge is there. There is the movement speed, but where is the hell? Let's look at Chiro. He's cleaving through the back line of H2. With the KLH being locking here by Becky. Box is down along with Crusher. A very big win in exchange for our heads. And it would be a follow-up as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Caspiel dropping so low, but Chris Kyle as well. Maybe the fatal side on this one gets the knock up onto Shiro. Another slice and dice, and of course a call the Nick Hunt. The Q would not connect, ladies and gents. Renekton on this one, lots of damage from Patrick. Gets the knock up, the ultimate there from our hedge along to answer ladder. The charge from the Glad. There's only 3 members remaining for the side here of the H2 squad. Mid lane and ADC is gone. Where is the damage? Where is the first Nexus turret? And where would be the second Nexus turret as Caswell and Becky who just zone out the members, the remaining alive members here of the Headhunter squad. I think this is it, Iconic. I think we have a 2-0 clean win here in the group stage for the Kuala Lumpur Hunters as they would prove themselves as the better Hunters against Headhunters. Lots of Hunters.
Yeah, but you can see there that